June 30th, 2025. Most people think it's just another date, but for some, it feels different. You wake up and you can sense it. Something isn't right. There's no thunder. There's no explosion. Yet something heavy is in the air. The pressure in your chest is not from outside. It's a message, not in words, not in signs you can take a picture of, but it's there and you can feel it. That's how the universe speaks quietly. Then it strikes. The signal doesn't come like you expect. You were waiting for a moment that looks dramatic, loud, unforgettable. But instead, the real moment comes when you're doing nothing, scrolling your phone, sitting in traffic, lying awake at night. That moment when the voice in your head says, this can't be it. That's the signal. That's June 30. And most will miss it. Why do people wait for their life to collapse before they take control of it? Why do they ignore the tightness in their chest, the fatigue that keeps building? The frustration with routine, these are not coincidences. They are feedback. The universe doesn't throw rocks at you. It whispers first. The question is, did you hear it before June 30? By now, you've seen the effects, the chaos in your thoughts, the resistance in your body, the loss of focus, the constant irritation with your own habits. That's not just stress, that's misalignment. And when misalignment stays too long, collapse follows. That's what June 30 is about. It's a checkpoint, not on the calendar, in your life. A checkpoint where the universe stops waiting for you to get serious. Some people don't want to believe this. They want signs to come in the form of miracles or disasters. But what if the real signs are quiet? What if the final signal doesn't scream? It simply gives up on you because you never listened. This is where most people stay stuck, not because they're broken, but because they keep waiting for the pain to get worse before they change. Look at your own life on June 30. What has been bothering you for a while now? What decision have you avoided for weeks, months, even years? What routine are you repeating even though it's slowly draining your energy? These are the signals, the unease you carry every morning. The disappointment you feel every night, that's the message. And it's final. Because if you don't act now, nothing will change. People chase motivation, books, speakers, signs, all to hear one truth: your life is in your hands. But when the final signal drops, it's not to inspire you. It's to remind you that you've already been warned. Change was never going to be comfortable. Growth was never going to feel convenient. And June 30 doesn't care if you're ready. It only cares if you're awake. You have to understand something very clearly. No one is coming to push you. The universe doesn't give second chances forever. At some point, you either move or you're moved. June 30 is that point. When the pressure in your head becomes unbearable, when your excuses can't explain your frustration anymore, that's when you know the final signal has dropped. And now you have to ask yourself one thing: are you finally going to act? Because the version of you that keeps postponing everything, that person is not confused. That person is scared. But fear is not the problem. Attachment is. You've become attached to the idea that your current way of living is sustainable, that something will eventually fix itself. It won't. The only thing that can fix it is movement, discipline, choice. That's the part most people don't want to accept. They think they're waiting for a breakthrough, but actually they're just delaying responsibility. The signal from the universe is not some mystical shift. It's your own logic waking you up. It's your own awareness rising to the surface. And when it finally does, it doesn't ask for permission. It demands a response. So on June 30, you have two options. Ignore the silence. Go back to distraction. Tell yourself you figured it out tomorrow. Or pause. Look at your reality, be brutally honest, and take the first real step. That step could be anything: waking up earlier, saying no to something that drains you, saying yes to something that scares you, cutting a habit that numbs you, starting a routine that challenges you. These actions are not random. They are the answers. They are what the universe was trying to get you to do all along. June 30 is not a prophecy. It's a mirror. It reflects everything you've been avoiding. And it gives you one last chance to change without being forced into it. So the question isn't, did the universe send a signal? The question is, now that it has, what are you going to do? June 30, 2025. That date will mean nothing to someone who's still asleep. But to you, if you're paying attention, it should be ringing like an alarm inside your mind. Not because anything exploded, Not because someone told you to act, but because deep down, something doesn't feel right anymore. That's not coincidence. That's not a mood. That's a signal. And it wasn't sent to be heard. It was sent to be acted upon. The biggest mistake people make is believing that important messages will arrive in the form of clear instructions. They want signs written in the sky, voices from above, or someone knocking at their door saying, "This is your moment." But the universe doesn't work like that, especially not now, not on June 30. By the time the signal reaches you, it's already too late for questions. You were supposed to act long before the chaos showed up. The June 30 is not about hearing more. It's about doing more with what you already know. Because you do know. You know what's been holding you back. You know what you're avoiding. You know what habits are killing your potential. And still, you wait. You wait for clarity while drowning in distraction. You wait for confidence while doing nothing that builds it. You wait for something outside of you to shift. But the signal was never meant for your ears. It was meant for your choices. There's a moment when the noise of the world dies down and all you're left with is a question: why am I still stuck? That moment, that's the signal. It's silent, it's internal, but it's absolute. The signal that dropped on June 30 is not a message for the masses. It's personal. It's built from your own patterns, your own resistance, your own indecision. And it doesn't need to speak. Your life is already translating it for you. You wake up tired, you feel scattered, you can't focus. You keep saying, tomorrow, tomorrow. You feel the heaviness of every small task. That's the universe speaking. That's your system reacting to a reality that's no longer sustainable. And still, most people wait for more signs, something louder, something external. But that's not coming. The real message has already dropped. The final signal is already here. June 30 isn't a warning anymore. It's a deadline. Here's the truth. The universe does not negotiate with those who delay. It moves on. When you fail to act, your window closes. And when enough windows close, your life becomes a prison you built yourself. Not because you didn't hear the signal, but because you didn't respond to it. Look around on June 30. Look at your behavior, your time, your thoughts. They're all pointing somewhere, either toward growth or toward decay. There's no middle. There's no pause button. The longer you sit in the wrong direction, the further away you move from the life you say you want. You don't need motivation. You don't need another speech. You need discipline. And that starts with a decision, a clear, quiet, committed decision. The kind of decision that doesn't ask for approval, doesn't wait for permission, and doesn't depend on feelings. That's what the signal was for, to trigger that moment in you. The moment when you finally stop running from responsibility and realize nothing changes unless I do. If June 30 doesn't wake you up, then what will? The signs were always there. The burnout, the loss of meaning, the emptiness after mindless pleasure, the constant restarting of goals you never finish. Those weren't accidents. Those were signals. You just ignored them because they were quiet. You thought pain would be more obvious, but real transformation doesn't come through panic. It comes through pressure. And June 30 is full of it. That pressure is not there to destroy you. It's there to demand a choice. And now that the final signal has dropped, you only have two paths left. Keep searching for more signs, more noise, more proof, or start choosing action. Simple action. Wake up earlier. Set a routine. Cut what drains you. Build what sharpens you. Take back your mind before it becomes a battlefield you can't control. This is not dramatic advice. This is what the signal was really pointing to. Not magic, not fate, just personal discipline. The universe isn't trying to scare you. It's trying to teach you. But only if you're done pretending you don't understand. Because you do understand. And that's the real reason June 30 feels heavy. Not because something is happening out there, but because everything is happening in here. And you've run out of excuses to ignore it. You were not meant to hear the signal. You were meant to feel its consequences. And now that you feel them and the anxiety, the tension, the pressure, the only question left is, will you keep waiting for a louder message? Or will you finally start listening through action? Because on June 30, silence wasn't the absence of sound. It was the universe telling you, This is your last moment to move, and most won't. Will you? June 30, 2025. If today feels heavy, there's a reason. You're not imagining it. You're not just tired, and this isn't just another hard day. What you're feeling is real, but it's not coming from outside. It's not the world falling apart. It's you being forced to realign. You can call it pressure, anxiety, confusion, restlessness. But the root of it is simply your current direction no longer fits your potential. This is what people don't realize. Chaos is not always bad. It's not a punishment. Sometimes it's a tool. Sometimes it's a necessary collapse. A system, when built on avoidance, laziness, or lies, cannot hold forever. At some point, it has to break. And when it does, people think something is wrong. But nothing is wrong. Something is being corrected. That's what June 30 is about. Most people will misread it today. They'll think the universe is against them. They'll feel overwhelmed, stuck, maybe even hopeless. But that's not what's happening. What's happening is realignment. And it hurts because you've been out of alignment for too long. For months. Maybe yes, maybe years, you've carried behaviors that don't belong to your future. You've repeated routines that are convenient but destructive. You've kept relationships, distractions, and thoughts that slow you down, but you told yourself you could manage them. Now you can't. Now they're crashing. Now the pressure is too much. That's not chaos, that's clarity arriving in a violent form. On June 30, you're being given one final opportunity to stop pretending that your habits are harmless, pretending that you're fine, pretending that you have time. You don't. This is your moment, not tomorrow, not later. Now, because when systems collapse, it's not the end. It's the beginning of something more honest, but only if you're willing to look at what's falling and why. This is the real message behind today. Not that life is hard, but that you've built your life around the wrong things. And now the truth has arrived. You don't need more motivation. You need removal. You need to take out what weakens you. You need to subtract, not add. Most people try to fix their life by adding new goals, new routines, new tasks, but they don't remove the old ones. And so they stay stuck. You can't grow while holding on to what's weighing you down. And that's what June 30 is here to teach you. The universe is not cruel, but it is exact. It doesn't adjust to your feelings. It adjusts to your decisions. And when your decisions no longer serve your purpose, the system will break. That's what today is. It's a breakdown that's meant to become a breakthrough. But only if you stop resisting. Resistance is what creates the pain. You're not hurting because of what's changing. You're hurting because you're trying to hold on. You're trying to keep your past alive while stepping into a future that demands something better. That tension, that's the discomfort you feel today. It's the price of growth, and no one is immune to it. You have to be honest with yourself. What's collapsing right now in your life? What habits are no longer working? What parts of your identity feel fake? What routines exhaust you instead of strengthen you? Look at those things. Don't avoid them. That's where your transformation starts. Not in adding new goals, but in removing what's in the way. You were not meant to stay comfortable. You were meant to evolve. But evolution requires disruption. You don't get stronger by staying safe. You get stronger by facing resistance, by holding yourself to a higher standard, by letting go of what no longer matches your vision. That's what real alignment is. And June 30 is the test. Most people will fail this test because they think discomfort is a sign they're doing something wrong. But discomfort is often the only sign that you're finally facing what's true. And if today feels like too much, good. That means the truth is finally louder than your excuses. So what do you do now? You stop numbing yourself. You stop distracting yourself. You stop waiting for the collapse to pass so you can return to the same broken routine. You take this moment, this chaos, and use it. You build something better with it. You set new rules. You raise your standards. You start subtracting the behaviors that make you weak. June 30 is not here to punish you. It's here to give you one last honest look at what your life has become. And to ask you, are you really okay with this? If not, then act. Don't overthink. Don't wait. Just act. Start with one thing, one shift, one discipline. That's all it takes. Because action, even small, creates momentum, and momentum is how you rebuild. The collapse is not the end. It's the truth finally showing up. The only question is, what are you going to do with it? June 30, 2025, by now the signal has dropped. And for most people, the feeling is clear. Something is shifting. But the truth is that shift didn't just begin today. It's been building slowly, silently over time. Today is only the point where ignoring it is no longer an option. If you don't move, you will be moved. That's not a threat, it's reality. Everything in life that stays still too long starts to rot. Still water turns toxic. Still muscles weaken. Still minds become prisons. That's how it works. So when someone refuses to act, refuses to change, refuses to move, life eventually forces the movement anyway. And when it does, it's not gentle. You had time, you had warnings. You had the pressure building up quietly through small signs. Fatigue, loss of motivation, repeating mistakes, a constant low-level sense of frustration. That wasn't just stress, that was a build-up. The system was telling you, move now or we will move you. June 30 is where the delay ends. People think they can wait for the perfect moment to act. They don't realize that the longer they wait, the less control they have over how change arrives. If you don't make the decision, life will make it for you. And it won't ask for your comfort. It will break routines. It will expose the truth. It will shake the ground you've been standing on. And by the time it does, you'll wish you had acted earlier. This is why June 30 matters. Not because something outside is ending, but because your time to make the change on your terms is running out. This is the final warning. You've been allowed to ignore the pressure. You've been allowed to avoid the work, but not anymore. The cost of delay is now higher than the discomfort of movement. So ask yourself this: what are you waiting for? Another failure to remind you, another setback, another lost year. The signal is here. The moment has already arrived. The only thing left is your response. And there are only two paths now. Choose discomfort voluntarily or wait until discomfort chooses you. The ones who suffer the most are not the weak. They are the ones who resist the longest. The ones who keep telling themselves they'll change soon. The ones who keep adjusting the story instead of adjusting their behavior. But here's the truth. Life is not interested in your story. Life is shaped by your patterns. And if your patterns are weak, then collapse is the only outcome. You can feel it today. The tension in your chest, the anxiety in your head, the silence that feels louder than ever. That's not a coincidence. That's the system pressing on you, waiting for a decision, waiting for motion. The question is, do you have the courage to face it now? Or are you going to let it break you later? Growth is never about comfort. It's about clarity, and clarity only comes through friction. You have to step into resistance to see what's real. And you have to let go of the illusion that staying still is safe. It's not. June 30 is here to expose that illusion once and for all. If you feel lost today, understand this: you are not weak. You are overdue. Overdue for discipline. Overdue for consistency. Overdue for boundaries. Overdue for decisions that clean up your environment, your relationships, your routine. This chaos isn't meant to destroy you. It's meant to get your attention and hold it until you act. People love to talk about change. They post about it. They read about it, but most don't do it because real change hurts. It demands sacrifice. It requires letting go of things that bring short-term comfort but long-term regret. June 30 does not reward those who admire change. It rewards those who execute it. There's no need for drama. No need for emotional speeches. The message is clear. If you don't move, you will be moved. And when life moves you, it won't wait for your permission. It will force endings. It will break attachments. It will remove what you refuse to let go of. And it will do it without apology. So the smarter move is this: get ahead of it. Move now. Even if it's small, cut one habit. Build one practice. Choose one discipline and don't break it. You don't need to fix everything overnight. You just need to show the universe that you are not passive anymore. June 30 is not the end. It's the threshold, the doorway between those who move forward and those who get dragged by the weight of their own delay. You decide which side of that door you walk through, but the door is closing slowly, quietly, and soon it will lock. So one last time, if you don't move, life will move you. What will it be? June 30, 2025. What you're feeling today is not something you can explain to everyone. And that's exactly how it's supposed to be. The truth is, not everyone received the signal. Not everyone and is meant to. Some people are still deep in distraction, still chasing comfort, still numbing their awareness. So when the shift happens, they won't feel it, or worse, they'll deny it. But you feel it. And now you're realizing the people around you won't hear what you hear. This is the part that most people aren't ready for. The separation, the isolation, the silence that comes after awakening. When you start seeing through your patterns, when you begin to question your routine, when the signal hits you, you expect others to wake up with you, but they don't. That's the first lesson of real growth. It's personal. It's not shared. It's not collective. And that's why it's difficult. June 30 is heavy for one reason. It forces you to notice that you're not like everyone else anymore. While they laugh, you reflect. While they distract themselves, you feel uncomfortable. While they delay, you want to act. But even when you explain it, they won't get it. That's the signal working. It separates you from the noise. It sharpens your perception. And in that clarity, you realize this path you walk alone. It's not because you're better. It's not because they're wrong. It's because the signal was made for you. Based on your decisions, your questions, your pain, your truth. You've earned this shift, but now you must protect it. You will feel tempted to pull others with you, to convince them, to help them see what you see. But the truth is, you cannot and you shouldn't, because the same way you needed silence and space to wake up, they will need theirs. You cannot wake someone who is still committed to sleeping. You can only walk and hope that your movement becomes their signal one day. That's what June 30 reveals, not just the truth about yourself, but the truth about your environment. Who around you reinforces your delay? Who supports your comfort? Who helps you stay small? These aren't enemies, but they are weights. And you must decide how much longer you're willing to carry what's not moving with you. This is where most people get stuck, not because they lack discipline, but because they fear loneliness. They fear becoming the only one in their circle that chooses growth. But here's the fact: you cannot rise while staying attached to what keeps you grounded. And that includes people, ideas, conversations, habits. You either grow or you stay liked. On June 30, you can't have both. If the signal was easy, everyone would respond to it, but it's not, because it requires separation. It requires cutting. It requires boundaries. And for some, that feels cruel. But discipline is not cruelty. It's clarity. And today is full of it. So ask yourself who around you understands the weight of today, who around you feels the urgency of change, who speaks about their time like it matters. Who reflects instead of escaping? If the answer is no one, that's your sign that you've outgrown your environment, and staying in it now is not neutral. It's toxic. This is the cost of awakening, the emotional weight of realizing that not everyone around you is ready. And still you must move. Still you must rise. Still you must commit, even if you do it alone, especially if you do it alone, because strength is not built in company. It's built in solitude. It's built in the moments when you act without applause, when you move without validation, when you show up without permission. That's what June 30 is giving you. Not comfort, not motivation, but that responsibility. The sooner you accept that your growth will not be celebrated by everyone, the freer you become. The sooner you understand that you don't need their agreement, the faster you rise. You don't owe anyone your delay. You owe yourself your momentum. If the people around you don't hear what you hear, that's fine. Don't argue. Don't explain. Don't prove. Just walk. Because your consistency will speak louder than your words ever could. The real signal is not in what you say. It's in what you do repeatedly. And what you do after June 30 will define whether the signal becomes transformation or just another moment you ignored. So yes, it's hard when they don't hear it. It's lonely when they don't feel it. But that's not your weight to carry. Your job is simple. Stay alert, stay disciplined, stay moving. Even if you're the only one who understands why. Because at some point, they'll look around and wonder how you did it. And you'll remember June 30, the day the signal dropped, and you didn't wait for others to hear it. You just moved. June 30, 2025. For many, this day feels like the end. For some, it feels like a breakdown. But the truth is, it's neither. It's a return to what you've always known deep down. but forgot. June 30 is not the start of something new. It's a reminder of what was already inside you. The pressure you feel now is not asking for new knowledge. It's asking for remembrance. Most people today will feel overwhelmed, tired, lost. They'll think they need more motivation, more books, more answers. But that's not what's missing. What's missing is action. What's missing is clarity. And clarity doesn't come from adding more. It comes from remembering what's real and cutting what's not somewhere along the way. So you forgot what you're capable of. Not because you're weak, but because life got noisy. You started listening to opinions instead of instincts. You got pulled into comfort, into distraction, into convenience. And slowly, without noticing, you drifted from yourself. You forgot the feeling of decisiveness. You forgot the power of discipline. You forgot the strength that comes from saying enough. And now on June 30, that memory is returning, but it's not gentle. It comes with chaos, with discomfort, with silence that feels heavy. And that's exactly how realignment works. The version of you that's been surviving through delay, escape, and excuses, it can't survive anymore. That version is being challenged now, not to punish you, but to remind you you were built for better. You know it, you've known it for a long time, but you let it go. You made compromises that became habits. You lowered your standards and called it being realistic. You settled not once, but over and over. And now, life has stopped accepting your delay. That's what June 30 represents, the moment where your excuses expire. The signal that dropped today is not about new beginnings. It's about returning to your original posture, focused, calm, clear, and capable. You don't need to become someone else. You need to become who you were before you became distracted, before you started tolerating what drains you, before you started hiding your energy under comfort. So now the question is simple. Do you remember? Do you remember what it felt like to be intentional, to wake up with urgency, to say no to what wastes your time without guilt? Do you remember what it felt like to keep your word, even when it was uncomfortable? That's who you are. That's who you were meant to be. And June 30 is here to pull that version of you out again. Don't look for signs outside of you. Don't wait for someone to tell you it's time. You already know. You don't need more proof. You need more movement. The weight you feel now is not confusion. It's responsibility. You know exactly what needs to change. You've just been avoiding it. But the delay has a cost. And after today, that cost increases. If you don't return to yourself now, life will keep getting louder. The pressure will rise. The emptiness will grow. Because your system is not built for mediocrity and it will not support it anymore. June 30 is not a breakdown. It's the return of memory, the memory of your standard, the memory of your values, the memory of your capability. You forgot, that's all. And now you're being reminded not by words, but by consequences. This is why you don't feel peace anymore when you waste time. Why your distractions don't numb you like they used to. Why your excuses don't sound convincing anymore. Even to you, it's not anxiety, it's awareness. Your system is trying to wake you up. That's the signal. So what do you do now? You simplify, you subtract, you go back to the basics. Wake up early, control your time, master your energy, set non-negotiables. Cut the unnecessary. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a present mind. You need to move. You need to act. You need to remember how it feels to keep a promise to yourself. Not someday, not when it's easy. Now, today, June 30, the world will tell you to be patient, to wait, to heal. But you've been healing for years. And now it's time to move because action is healing. Purpose is healing. Direction is healing. You won't find peace in stillness anymore. You'll only find it through motion. So remember, this isn't new. This is ancient. This is the version of you that was buried under comfort. You were built for this pressure. You've trained for this clarity. You've lived through darker days than this, and yet you're still here for a reason. Don't waste that. You don't need to start over. You need to remember, and on June 30, you did now prove it.